What's going on, Slayers? It's me, Shane, and I'm here to give you my review for Kimetsu no Yaiba, the movie Infinity Castle. Before I go any further, your shy samurai over here has to ask you to please subscribe, hit the like button, and make sure you hit the notification bell so you be notified of more reviews like this. And you want to help me out, my Patreon, that link is in the description below. Whatever you choose to donate will be gladly appreciated and will be put to good use. I promise you that. So, I never once mentioned, even though I know my reviews have been staggering for the summer, I never once mentioned that I was going to even try to review this movie. And something just came over me like maybe last week or week before. I said, you know what? I'm gonna go see this movie. Ain't that right, Nesco? Yeah, that's right. And I do not regret that choice at all. So this was a 2 hour and 35-minute movie. I'm going to try to give you what I can in 50 minutes or less. Let's go ahead and jump right on into this, which is funny because that's exactly what this movie did. So this image is from the Hashira training arc. We pick up right off that last episode. I mean, falling into the Infinity Castle. Looks like all the Slayers from everywhere have been captured, and it's just, this is technically the fourth season because we're gonna have 3 movies to conclude this whole arc. Fortunately or unfortunately, the manga's done. And you know how some manga readers are. They like to spoil stuff, or when stuff happens, people post things up. So I kind of have an idea of certain things that's going to happen. I don't know how we get there. And I got to be completely honest with you all. When I'm sitting down watching something, in the moment, I might not be thinking about it. Like I had a jackass spoil Infinity. I had a jackass spoil the ending to Infinity War, and I go, "Oh, I'm just kidding." I didn't think about it till after the movie was done. I went, "Oh, that guy's an asshole." Got it. So I'm gonna do what I do for all movies, man. I'm gonna tell you about the plot, music, effects, pace. And then we're gonna get into the nitty of the gritty. That ending part of season 4 where Tanjiro's falling and he's like, "I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna get you, Muzan." Muzan just, because initially he's all like, smiling like, "Yeah, y'all thought y'all gonna kill me. I'm gonna get y'all. Y'all in my tail." He's like, "I'm gonna get you." He's like, "I like to see you try, Commando Tanjiro, Muzan Kizabushi." I don't know what it is about that trope in anime where you scream the other person's name, if you have a deep relationship, whether it's a deep hatred, a deep rivalry, or a deep friendship. Like the first time I can ever remember that is like Naruto to Sasuke. And you get that a couple times in this movie. Like the people that Tanjiro has like that deep kind of seated hated or relationship with, calls them out. Cannot wait to get into that. Let's talk about the plot. Stays the course, baby. And it touches on everything. Like if you were thinking, well, what about these people over here? Did it get everybody? What happened to everyone else? It touches everything. Everything. So that's a 5 out of 5. I'm gonna get into that. Touches everything. Plot just is Demon Slayer. If you like it, you love it, you know it. It touches it all. The music is fantastic. I listened to that Infinity Castle theme, I think that we got at the end of season 4 with the horns, the burr, 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 burr. That's just that we get that in here. We got 2 new songs by the one thing about this series, the themes are great. Some of the best themes you will ever hear in all the animes. We get Lisa, who came out with the song Shine in the Cruel Night, which they're in a cruel night, so they're trying to shimmer through it. Actually, I will put the link for that song. And Eimer has a song where a world where the sun never rises, which is a direct reference to the Infinity Castle. It makes sense that it's the demon stronghold because no light can get in there. Although there's parts of this castle where it's like different, like, I don't want to say biomes, but it kind of seems like different biomes almost. Pardon me. So remember, Eimer did the red light district theme, which was almost kind of better than Garingi that Lisa did. Lisa did Akuboshi for Mugen Train and also did this. So music 5 out of 5. I'm gonna put the links for both of those in the description. The effects, just the artwork is amazing. Like the 3D rotoscope, they do it just as good. It's ufotable. Come on, Fate Stay. They do it almost better than anybody else. You almost forget, like my eye can catch when something is like 3D image or cell shaded. They blend it so well, especially when you're in this literal space of infinity. It looks amazing. Even the particle effects, like when people do like water breathing, wind breathing, Hinokami Kagura, all that stuff. Even the insect breathing, all of that stuff looks great. The demon, the demon blood arts stuff looks cool. 5 out of 5. Pacing. So I had one issue, and I would give the pacing a 5 out of 5 because it's Demon Slayer. I'm gonna give it 4.5 out of 5, mainly because of what happens in the third act. But see, I didn't watch the Mugen Train movie. I didn't see the movie when it first came out. I did watch when they broke it down into episodes, which, yeah, I'm skipping ahead a bit. If they break this down, which they probably will, because this movie came out this year's 2025. The next one come out to 2027, and then the last movies come out in 2029. They're spacing these out, so they're probably going to do the same thing they did with Mugen Train. Chop it up, put some extra bits towards the end, add a little bit of extra things, maybe show some different scenes. They just space the episodes out, because for the Mugen Train, that first episode was 27 minutes, and then the last episode was 27 minutes. So they know where to cut and put things in. I have total faith in them, and I will be reviewing that when they break it up into 8-part episodes, because why wouldn't I? Plus, I'll be able to put a little bit more detail when I'm watching movies. You can't pause a movie. Well, can't pause a movie in a movie theater, so I'll be able to give more details. You guys know I like to talk about the attack names and how they look and go into greater detail with all that. So, but that third act, but I haven't seen Mugen Train, so maybe this is par for the course. It feels like it's par for the course. And I mentioned Mugen Train because, while we did get Red Light District arc, we got the Swordsman Village arc, and we got the Hashira Training arc. This kind of feels like a literal sequel to the Mugen Train movie. Like, there's some things that get concluded. Although, obviously this is a spoilery. Inosuke does show up. He shows up in a flashback, and he shows up in there, in the movie, ready to kick some demon butt. But I think that's the one character that we needed to get from the Mugen Train, so he can get like a little bit of comeuppance redemption. Although Inosuke and Mugen Train, he did the damn thing with Tanjiro, but for the character himself to be like, yeah, right? Because we got Akaza. We got Akaza, Tanjiro, Zenitsu. Boy, Zenitsu's my boy. I can't wait to talk about that. But what I can do here, so there's 3 major acts. You got Shinobu versus Doma, Zenitsu versus Kaigaku, and then Akaza versus Giyu and Tanjiro. I'm gonna get into that. I'm gonna put those things and talk about them in that order. Talk about last. First, remember when I said they touch on everything? I was not kidding. Master Kaguya, Ubo Yashigi, the master, who said, hey, I'm dying anyway, I'm finna blow myself up. This man was a genius. The fact that Muzan really was cocky, like centuries of, not being able to get caught, but your forces are still being killed by humans who are kind of at the peak physicality. That's where peak came from. Peak physicality. Like, remember, he had 5 kids. Only 2 of them died. And like I think that was to distract Muzan. Think, oh yeah, like he has his whole family here. He's not running. And we even get that recap of him talking to Gilmay, the Stone Hospital, saying, yeah, I'm gonna use myself as bait. You're the only one that will let me. The others will not. So this is what we're gonna do. His son, Kiria, that's the black hair one. Again, they all had same face, so I thought he had 5 daughters. No, he had that was the one son, and then the other 2 girls, who I guess they were maybe quadruplets, Quina and Kanata. They are mapping out the Infinity Castle using Yushiro. Remember the guy who the young boy who was basically the helper of Lady Tamayo, using his demon art, which is on the crows, and the crows are in the castle flying about. And they're using tags, and they are literally mapping the whole thing out with brushes. He's in the center, his sisters are to the side, and guarding them. And this made my heart go kind of melt a little bit, kind of flutter a little bit, because I love seeing callbacks like this. I'm glad that I feel bad for forgetting the creator's name for this, but made me feel good to see Tengen Uzui, his one arm self, and then Papa Rengoku are guarding them. They are outside, and it's still night. It's still the same night. We have to, again, one thing I love about anime, so much stuff happens, and it's in the span of like almost a short time period. So this is still the same night, and they are guarding, and they're having this discussion about how these kids, they lost their siblings and both of their parents, mama and papa. They lost them both, and they're working hard to do this. And a small theme in here that I didn't mention before, well, that I meant to mention now, but I'm gonna mention a couple more times, is the dead coming back to talk to people that they love. And this isn't just like, oh, you have an image of the person in your head and you're hearing something they would say. No, they're actually talking to them, right? We've seen this before. I feel like it was those were flashbacks in Swordsmith Village arc. But here, Master Kaguya, he's talking to his son Kiria, and Kiria's like, kind of breaking down a little bit. And his dad said, hey, you're doing a great job. I believe in you. I know you can do this. And he just kind of looks up. His dad was there. His dad's gone. He even tells I think it was Quina, who was, about to start crying because she's thinking about it. He's like, hey, no time to cry. We gotta keep going. We are going to finish this tonight. That badass, right? One of the best scenes, because I need to point this out. I had to write this down. That opening scene where Gilmay's in the cemetery, the Japanese style cemetery. And it is greatly inferred. Those are all the bodies of all the Slayers that have either present or the past who have been fighting this battle for centuries. Very well done. Very well done scene. I don't know if it was ever drawn like that in the manga, but that was very well done. Yushiro, he's in the Corpse in Disguise. I'll get to that. Him and Murata, such a funny comedy duo. When I talk about Zenitsu's fight, we're going to get to that one. Murata, please don't die. He actually knows water breathing style. That's so cool. It's the slowest I've ever seen it, but good for him, right? The Demon Corps lower ranks, they're fighting all the lower rank demons. And gotta remember, you can judge a lower rank because the closer you are to looking human, that's how much stronger you are. So, which is funny because the first Upper Moon, while this Joker has 6 eyes, he looks like a normal person. Just, I got 6 eyes. The number 2, Doma, you find out later, his eyes and his hair are kind of his own, but he looks pretty close to human. Akaza, pretty close to human outside of those lines. Those lines are actually really important for the character. But what Tanjiro and Giyu were fighting these massive demons, and the smaller demons kind of look like snakes, and the lower cores are taking care of like ogre looking ones, like giant ones that would normally kill them on that testing ground mountain. And I attribute that to Tanjiro in the training arc right here, running through with them, not giving up, and they're all going like, man, they know his story, they know how much he's been through, they also know how strong he is. They go, we can't do what you do, but we're going to do our best. I think it was with that, and it's with when he had to train with the Wind Hashira, and when he had to train with Iguru, his jealous ass. So I like that we're progressing there. Again, touching on everything. Muzan is in the flesh cocoon. I guess this is how he heals himself over time. He's trying to absorb Lady Tamayo. And she's like, hey, he could be trying to do his little human phase thing. Kind of how he keeps getting reborn. Can y'all need to hurry up. I don't know how much longer I can hold this dude off. And he thinks he's going to win. Right? Hold on a second. Muzan's like, this night's gonna be your last Demon Slayers. Yes, I did have a hat on the side just so I can do that. So that's why he's not doing anything. They're trying to find him. They're mapping out the castle because they need to find him, and then they can tell the Slayers via the crows where he is. And the helpers who wear the black mask, I think they're called Kakashis. And they're named technically after, like, not Kakashi Scarecrows, but in Kabuki theater, they have people dressed all in black to move the puppets, so to move the scenery around so they don't take away from it. So I believe that's what they're named after. I also believe that's the name of it, right? Kakashis. We have the former Water Hashira water trainer, Urokodaki. He's with Nezuko. He gave her the drug that Lady Tamayo and Shinobu came up with that's supposed to turn her human. Because, this turning her human will ruin all of Muzan's plans. And even if they don't kill him tonight, he's going to have to wait centuries again to hopefully find someone that can allow him to step in the sun. Because as it stands, the demons are pretty much vampires, right? I mean, they're pretty much vampires, right? But it seems like the sun is the only thing that can kill some of them. Because Muzan, you can't cut off his head. You have to cut. He has like, how many hearts? I think like 6 hearts or something like that. You got to cut up the hearts, and you just have to, if cutting off his head doesn't kill him, you gotta last until the sun comes up. And that's going to be a theme that we see, because sometimes sheer force of will keep some of these things alive. Well, I'm going to get into that in a second. But he also says, and there was a nice little visual they had for this, that ever since Tanjiro showed up with Nezuko, for him to watch her, things have been set in motion. They are like 2 small cogs in this giant wheel, this giant machine. We do get a nice little visualization of a little green cog and a little pink cog turning. And he says, you guys, things have been stagnant for so long, and it seems like you guys are now what's getting everything to start turning. And, he's like, man, my heart is pounding heavily. He's like sweating. Still got on that mask. He's saying, could tonight be the night where all of this stuff is over? So anticipation. Let's talk about these pairings now. And I'm not going through the acts, I'm talking about the pairings. We got Iguru and Kanroji, the lovers, right? I love that when we see her, she's screaming as she's falling. He's going, Kanroji, calm down. She's like, yeah, boo. She calms down. They reach for each other. It was really tense. I thought for a second, y'all just gonna split them up? No, they grasp each other. They have to, and by the Slayers, the Hashiras, they all have to figure out how to slow down, because while space is weird, they're still falling regardless. So they help each other slow down. Giyu helps Tanjiro to slow down a bit. Gyomei is paired with Tokito, so Mist and Stone, they're paired together. I keep forgetting this guy has like a big stone mace ball and an axe, because he's busting through things. And those 2 pairings, like we see these 2 pairings in addition to Giyu and Tanjiro, they just whipping ass. Like, these lower ranked demons don't stand a chance against them, especially in pairs. That's when the rotoscope comes in. I gotta say, they're probably gonna make more Demon Slayer games. I probably won't. I'll pick one up for the low, because they're gonna have to add more characters and change moves and add moves. I kind of want a game that's like Dynasty Warriors, like, you know, from the Warrior series, because I like Hyrule Warriors. If they do a Demon Slayer Warriors where it's like I can play with the buddy, shout out to my guy Black Kaizoku, where we can both be a Hashira and just like fight waves of demons, then oh look, here's an upper rank or a lower rank you guys gotta fight. I will buy that game in a heartbeat. Next, we got Inosuke's running around. We don't see him towards the end, but he's running around wanting to test the fruits of his training. He's easily cutting down smaller demons, weaker demons. He wants to fight a big wig. And Shinazugawa, the Wind Hashira, big brother to our boy Genya. He's like, you know, doing the traditional sitting on the knees, sword at his side. And he's crying because he's thinking about the master. He's like, I couldn't protect the master. And this is an opening. Just sad he couldn't protect him. And we get that feeling literally from every other Slayer, including Tanjiro. Because Tokido was thinking, well, I thought he was thinking, but he was speaking out loud. When any of them are hurt, he was there. When any of them were on death's door, he was there watching over them like a father. And they're pissed. They're like, you took our dad away from us. We're going to get you. And my dude, I'm calling my dude right now, you know, because he might not make it. You know, if he show up in that second movie, he might be donezo. Shinazugawa does like a Batujutsu thing. Like a demon just jumps. He's like, cut. He's and towards the end of the movie, he wants to fight an upper rank. We'll find out in a minute why he wants to fight an upper rank. And little bro Genya, you know, he's just popping caps and demons, looking for his brother. You know, Pop, where you at, big brother? Right? So let's talk about these fights. Let's talk about these fights. So again, if you join me thus far and you still haven't seen the movie, if you don't care about spoilers, cool. So we got Shinobu versus Doma. And it seems like, especially when Mugen Train does one really important thing. It sets the tone, because our kids here, they fight the lower ranks, the lower moons, right? And they beat them. They have a hard time, but they beat them. As a matter of fact, that's how Shinazugawa became Wind Hashira. He killed the lower rank one his first time out. So we set the tone about how powerful these beings are, and their strength is ranked by their number. So you got 1, 2, 3, and 4 here. We've already seen. Well, I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. They killed 5. I forget what number Hatengu was. Who got a shout out in here? But these are strong. She's fighting like the number 2 dude, 2 Muzan. Well, number 3 dude, 2 Muzan. And he's like, yeah, you're the fastest Hashira I've ever seen. Let's talk about this dude's backstory a little bit. And I hope I can find it. It's hard for me to take notes when I'm watching a movie, and I do it freehand. But I don't think he gave his real name. But this dude was born to... He is the founder of the Eternal Paradise religion. Cannot believe I remember that off the top of my head. And born to 2 parents, where his hair is white, his eyes are rainbow colored. That is not a result of turning into a demon. Small tangent. I do appreciate /like/love that in this series, characters can have different eye shapes and eye colors, and it doesn't mean like, oh man, yet that person got the super special strength in them. It just means that was how they were born, and it's kind of different. Because we'll see a character later who has a flower pattern in her eyes, and she was sickly. Get to that in a minute. But his parents were like, oh, truly he hears the voice of the gods. And he's like, I played along with them and their pitiful thing. He's just smiling, and people will come and pray to him. And he was crying. He would be crying. He said, "Oh, how pitiful your lives are. You don't realize the cruelty of life. There is no paradise. You're going to die and you're going to rot. And that's it." And so he's like, he would just take pity on them and, try to ease their minds. And then it occurs to me, oh, you're not just nuts. You're an asshole. Gotcha. He was eating young girls while, when Shinobu comes up to him, and his area is like almost like a castle within the castle itself. There was just water around. If you can think, if I had time to look up and to show you guys like the type of castles in Japan that I've seen from pictures and whatnot, I will show it to you. But it looks beautiful. So his area is just beautiful and serene, and he is so different from the others, where he speaks gently, but you can still, ever since we got a flashback of how ferocious he was when he like had a head in a knapsack and just biting it while in the snow, you get the feeling of how dangerous this character is. Now, his backstory with Shinobu, in case you all forgot, I don't know if it was in the Hashira training arc or if it was in Swordsmith Village. I feel like it might have been in either one when she's talking to Kanao. She has history with this guy. He's the one that killed the last, technically she was the flower Hashira, but killed her big sister who was a Hashira. And, she's asking her sister, what does he look like? Who what was the demon that killed you? And initially her sister was like, I want you to just quit being a Hashira, or quit being in the Demon Slayers, leave, just live a full life. And she's like, we already made a promise. I cannot do that before you die. Tell me who did this. And Demon looks like he has blood poured on his hair, talked about the color of his eyes. That's what he looked like. And it's crazy because he does remember her after he saw the pin in Shinobu's hair, the butterfly pin. She went to get him, but he slashed her and he couldn't eat her because the sun came up again. Sun is what seems like to be the driving thing that can actually, for certainly kill them. And her sister passed. I believe her sister's name was Kanai. They had a like most of these people had a family. It was mom, Shinobu, another sister that was a little bit younger than her, big sister Kanai, and a demon came, killed the other two, and Gyome came in and saved them. And from that point on, tearfully, they swore that they would kill as many demons as they could. If you take out, who said this? I think it might have been her. I can't believe I'm remembering this. You take out lesser demons, you save dozens of lives. You take out an upper rank, you're saving hundreds and hundreds of lives because they live for so damn long. So they fight. Now, I have to save this part last. Her whole thing is poison. You see how we saw how her blade was in season 1. Stabbed this dude in the eye. He's like, dang, I couldn't catch your blade with my hands like I usually can. And the poison was getting to him, and then he was fighting it off. And that was the name of the game. We also learned that when she sheaves, like, I like her style being different, because she sheaves it and then she turns it and it grinds and it shrinks and it mixes the poison again. And he figured out how her stuff works. Okay. So she's attacking again. Her moves that we see she does is the, I think it's like a bee thrust, horsefly attack. And then she does a dragonfly, which is like a rapid attack, kind of like your Aura or your Pegasus Ryu Senken, like all punching attacks happen at one time, right? His demon art is making like sub-zero temperatures. He has steel fans that can slice. As we saw there was a girl that was still alive and she's like, please save me. He's like, oh, hold on, let me tend to this and then you and I can do our thing. And Shinobu went and grabbed her. We thought before he cut her, but nope, she just gone. She accidentally breathed it in, and he can make sub-zero temperatures. He's like causing necrosis in her lungs just from her breathing it in slightly. And that he is like a great counter to the Demon Slayers, because in order for you to do stronger attacks, you have to know how to get great breath control. And then she does, I guess, what if this was a video game, I guess this would be her Ogi, her secret art, which is the centipede. Again, when anime comes out and they chop it up, I'm gonna do much more, right? But does a centipede, multiple hits, striking him at multiple angles. She's so fast he can't keep up. Get him to the ceiling, and he even admits, he said, if you were able to cut my head off, you would have won, but your hands are so small. And she's lamenting that, like, damn, my hands are so small. Like, if I were bigger like Yome, or like my sister was petite and slender, but she was bigger and taller than me. And she's like, I bet that's what my sister was trying to tell me, give up all this, because there's no way I can beat that demon. And then the spirit of her sister shows up. And I love how stern she is. She isn't like teary, kind of like we've seen like the other spirits that show up. She's like, stand up. You made a promise. See this through. Do what you can do. That's before she did the centipede move. And then, Sister Spirit is crying, and then she's standing up. Dude's like, dang, he did cut her. He's like, how are you able to stand up? You got to be in a lot of pain, right? And the sound effects people did a great. You can hear the blood feeling in her lungs. It's a loud gurgle. But unfortunately, she couldn't do anything. He pulls her back up. You got any last words before, you become part of me? And she said, go to hell. Kanao happens to run in, and she does a little twitch of her finger, and dude snaps her spine. And he's absorbing her, and Kanao doesn't rapidly go in to stop him from absorbing her. He's like, oh, dang, okay, so she gave you a hand signal to tell you what my ability was. Man, in that short amount of time. Okay. Well, then, so that fight is done. So we are down 0-1 right now. And the crows go off and tell, like, the crows are flying about this when we first find out that they're using that ability. The crows go off and tell everybody. Yeah, Shinobu Kocho, died while fighting upper rank 2. She's dead. Tanjiro's tearful. They're all sad. Damn. So we'll see what happens with that next fight. With that, Kano, because at the end of the movie, she's still fighting homeboy. So look kind of haggardly. She's still fighting him though, and her style is flower breathing, like her adoptive big sister. So I like that. I like that a lot. Now we're gonna talk about my boy Zenitsu and Kaigoku. Man, if Usopp had the type of turnaround like Zenitsu does, like Zenitsu has a moment, and we're gonna get to that snaps him from being, little scary punk bitch to, because he did cool stuff season 1. That last fight when he was turned into a bug, did cool stuff there. Did good. The first time we saw the cool stuff was when they had to fight the little drum demon thing, and he was asleep, and he can fight while he's asleep because he can hear. He's awake. That boy ain't asleep. He is awake right now. He is woke. He has awoken. The person he's fighting, Kaigaku, was supposed to be a Kohashira with him, a successor for the thunder breathing style from the old man, from G-Chan. And I do like how, I guess, their Horis, the jackets they wear, that kind of shows, your level, possibly. Zenitsu's is the yellowish orange with the triangles. His was going to be blue with triangles because the Master's was brown with triangles. Zenitsu, he was going to make them cold because Zenitsu can only do the first form. We know this. The man who does one move 1,000 times. But this other dude can't do the first form and can do everything else. And the first form is the basis of everything. That is important. So dude became a demon. Funny enough, The upper rank one, Kokushibo, is the one that gave him the blood of Muzan and just poured it in his hand, even threatened him, say, hey, you spill a drop of that, your head and torso are going to disconnect. Like, he's going to cut him twice. And he's drinking it, and he becomes that. So he's technically newer, very new. And the problem here, why Zenitsu is so pissed off, why he's awake, while they're talking trash to one another, talking a lot of trash to one another, it's because the master committed seppuku when he found out that dude turned himself into a demon. And he's like, you know that when you do that, you're supposed to have somebody there to behead you because, you know, it's a long, agonizing end, stabbing yourself in there and just bleeding out, slowly dying. And dude's like, I don't care. Like, he was gonna make me Ko Hashiro with a weakling with trash like you. And Zenitsu he's talking trash back. He's like, well, if I'm trash, then you're scum. And I feel bad for our master because he has two complete failures as successors. And, you know, Zenitsu's trying to do his thing. Guy has all the other techniques. I couldn't bother writing this down because this fight was fast. You know, the thunder some of it was dark blue, some of it was dark red. The final big attack, I think the sixth form, was like cracking his body, and it would continue to crack until he just like shredded up. And you know, we get more backstory with Zenitsu and this guy. Like, this is where our funny parts come in. Our funny part come in when, you know, we get the flashback, try to do a little brevity, a little bit of levity. We get the part that came before this, but that's with Tanjiro. I'll talk about that later. And, you know, he says, you know, you hate me. And you know what? That's okay, because I hate you, but I always respected you. And this is him talking in his mind as he's falling to his supposed death. And Zenitsu's going, you know, you are grinding, you put forth the work, the hard work and effort. Why would you throw all this away? And eventually he says, I'm sorry. He goes, I'm big brother. You know, I'm sorry, big brother. Because he got to do what he got to do. But there was another point. And that's why I can see how they're going to chop this up for episodes. There was another point where I guess they were other practitioners of the Thunder Breather. You know, he heard them talking trash about Kagaku. So he can't even do the first form. Like, that's so weird. And it's the basis of everything. That's kind of lame. He's supposed to be a Hashira or something. That's lame. And, you know, Zenitsu gets into a fight with them. And dude calls him scum, like, oh, you're trash. I can't believe you would fight upper ranks. Blah, 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 blah. And this dude's the epitome of, like, jealousy and pissy. And you think you're better than somebody, but it turns out, you know, if you both combine yourselves, you would be great. You know how cool that would be? They would have been the Hashira's version of Gyotaro and his sister, I forget her name, the 2-in-1 upper rank, Mr. Scytheman and Lady of the Cloth. That kind of would have been cool to be like, yeah, this one dude, I do the one thing good, he do everything else. If I don't take you down, he gonna take you down. Or we'll do a combined thing. He messed that up though. And so as he's falling, you know, we even see the 8-fold lightning that couldn't break through. And Zenitsu somehow Spider-Man's his way onto the side of a wall. What is a wall in a different time and space? And this dude does Thunder Breathe. He's a 7th form. And it's called God of Fire Thunder. And it's a dragon. Turns into a lightning dragon. And zips through and just cuts his head. This is when he says, I'm sorry, big brother. Sorry, oh Nissan. Cut head just completely off. And dude was like, I knew the old man liked you more. He taught you that form? That's not 7 forms in Thunder Breathing. He's like, no. I made that move up in hopes of one day being able to work together with you. As he's falling, he's like, you know, his head's disintegrating. Dude's like, you know what? I can't stand for this. He's still talking shit. He's still angry and jealous. Going, wait a minute. he's gonna hit the bottom, because again, if you hit the bottom, even in this impossible space, from falling from a great height, you're gonna die. He's like, well, we'll die together. Ha ha ha. Yushiro jumps down, gets in it. He's talking shit to the face that is slowly disintegrating. He going, man, to not be able to accept defeat and contemplate why you lost and just know that you did the wrong thing. That's so sad. And you know what's even sadder? Dying alone. And gets Zenitsu and just goes back to the top as dude disintegrates into nothing. And this is what we get. Zenitsu, we get Yushiro with Murata and their comedy duo telling him, hey, you better heal him up and protect him. We get to see the water wheel as they fight something else because he's shouting. He's like, yeah, you make good bait for demons because your shouting is attracting them. And Yushiro smacks around Zenitsu a little bit, saying he'll be fine. He's going to get up. But before that, Zenitsu sees the spirit of their master. He actually crosses over to the other side. And what I believe is a representation of the river Styx. On one side is the river Styx. The other side is his old master, his grandpa, his adopted father. He's on the other side. He's having a hard time walking through, trying to get to the water, saying, I'm so sorry about what happened. By the way, the chrysanthemums, which is a symbol for death, we saw those in the opening for Mugen Train. Pay attention. That's what grandpa is. And he's saying, I'm so sorry. I tried to get along with him. I really did. I wrote him every day, but he never wrote me back. I'm so sorry. I think I got some of this down, didn't I? Dang it, I didn't get all this. But he was saying, I disappointed you. I know I disappointed. Please say something, say anything. And, with tears in his eyes, Grandpa on the side says, Zenitsu, you're my pride and joy. And that's when our boy comes back. I love it. Because they're having these final conversations with people as we get like some kind of closure, whether it's the good one or the bad one. And by the bad one, I'm talking about, what happened to Shinobu. But yeah, off the charts. Dude had to save him because I guess if the Kraken kept going, it could have cracked through his eyes and made him blind. So we have 1-1 now. With some casualties, we have 1-1. Excuse me. So, we're going to go into Giyu and Tanjiro. Now, remember, when they both caught up to each other and then the demons started attacking, I told you that was one of the coolest scenes with the rotoscope. And we get a funny moment where Tanjiro's thinking about how cool Giyu is. He's like, he's working with my movements and making sure he doesn't cut me. Because they did like constant flow and flux and all this other water breathing stuff. And he's like, he's so cool. And then they both run off. And then the crows are like... crows are communicating to other people. They're like, hey, they're about to both run into like a huge power. Akaza comes down. And our boy, he's like, oh, Komodo Tanjiro. He's like, Akaza, right? Our boy has leveled up significantly to the point where we're not doing water breathing no more. This is all Hino Kami Conqueror, where he cuts off dude's arm, then easily turns around before he can hit him. And like, I think slashes from here to here, a little bit from here, just cuts him straight down. And both Giyu and Akaza are frozen. They're both just standing there. Because Giyu's like, wow, you really have gotten stronger. Tanjiro, you are at least at a Hashira level. You have to be. Oh, yeah, I need to help him. Then they get into the fight. This fight is great. This fight is amazing. Of course, they were gonna make it last because of Tanjiro, but this fight was fantastic because it gets split up several times. Where, Tanjiro he gets hurt a bit, so he's trying to catch up, and Giyu is facing Akaza, and we get this nice I said it's different biomes. There's an area where it looks like it's waterfalls, and I'm like, oh, he just gonna use that water to help his techniques and whatnot, right? Of course, Akaza's like, let's get this party started. Just, all right. Oh, I missed that part. Talk about that later. But he's fighting. He does, I want to say Giyu does the 11th form. Is 11th form dead calm? It is. 11th form is dead calm, where it's like, it's where you're able to block a bunch of moves and it looks like just a C. And Kaza's like, hey, I fought a water breather 50 years ago. He did not know that move. All right, this is good. He's enjoying the fight. Again, you all may hate tropes, but this is his trope, and he is troping it very well. Ends up kicking Giyu through a bunch of, I guess what would count as buildings. Because as we looking, like, as the area was shifting up that separated Tanjiro from them, it started looking like skyscrapers. And I said, I see what you're doing. Good job, Ufotable. So they're both fighting. So Tanjiro catches up, ends up fighting with him. And the area they're in now, the lighting is so beautiful. One side is like, like the sun rising, when the sun rises and it starts to hit everything. And the other side is Akaza with this deep blue. And Akaza's like, hey, man, you've gotten stronger. Maybe it's a good thing that Kyojuro, Rengoku, it's a good thing he died, right? He was right. You're not a weakling. And Tanjiro's pissed. He's like, don't spit on his name and everybody else's name. I'm giving you praise. I'm like, you are strong. And that's probably as strong as he would have gotten. And Tanjiro reads him his rights. When he tells him he's spitting on everybody, Kazu's like, I hate weaklings, though. And there's a reason for that. Can't wait to get into this dude's backstory. Everybody who's weak needs help and all this other stuff. And that's Tanjiro goes, look, everyone needs help. You're here because you got help. If you think about it, and it's kind of like a double, triple meaning here, because Muzan gave him blood. That's the only reason why you're here alive, able to fight, right? But he's saying everyone who starts off as an infant, we get help, and that is what the strong are supposed to do. The strong help the weak, and then he hears those same words, and it's somebody. And I like how the image of this person isn't as concrete as we've seen everybody else's spirit people. This person touches Akaza's shoulder, tells him the speech, and he backhands him. And Tanjiro sees it. Tanjiro's like, who is he attacking? So that's the difference. All of these Hashira who are on good terms with the people, whether they think they failed them or not, they embrace and they talk, verbally embrace and talk. This guy's just like, I'm pissed. I don't even know who that part. He don't even remember who that was. Get to that in a second. I bet you that's who Channing Tatum voices in the dub. I went to the subs, obviously, because I'm team sub. But he goes, I hate you too. I actually realized I actually do hate you, Tanjiro. And their fight, Giyu ends up kind of saving Tanjiro. There was one point where Tanjiro was going to get his whole torso taken out and somehow instinctively moved. And this is because this is why I like Tanjiro. I need to make sure I get me one where he has the updated blade of his. This is why I like Tanjiro. This is why I like Midoriya. He's thinking during the fight. He's like, he's dodging everything I'm doing. And he's able to see when we're coming from his blind spot, he's able to defend. It looks like his blows are aiming at vitals instinctively, like a magnet. How is he doing this? And he remembers a conversation with Nosuke, where Nosuke is saying, I can feel killing intent. Like, I can dodge blows, because I think Tanjiro was asking him how was he able to dodge a move at one point in time. And so Tanjiro, they do kind of like a little game, and he tells him, yeah, you're focusing on my right shoulder. He's like, dang, how could you just know that? And it just comes from, remember, Inosuke has a heightened sense of touch, and he's like the wild guy. So he can feel killing intent, and fighting spirit is another thing that's getting broken down. So Tanjiro's like, okay, dude said he can see fighting spirit. He can feel it. And that's what the demon art, his demon art compass is. He can feel fighting spirit and killing intent. He even, Akaza even says even infants have a low level of fighting spirit. Everyone has it. So Tanjiro, as this fight ramps up, Giyu comes back. We get a funny joke where he's like, how dare you do that? You hurt my back. And Giyu was not having a good time with Akaza, because he says, I don't like to talk. I'm not going to tell you my name. Of course, Tanjiro accidentally said his name. He's like, says, I don't like to talk. I like to talk. So we're going to keep talking and fighting. Giyu's mark comes out of this because in his mind, he's like, I usually don't like, fighting side characters, like doing just the main mission. But something in my blood is making me want to fight this guy. And if I beat a high level opponent like this, I can get even stronger. The mark comes up. He gets faster. Unfortunately, Akaza gets faster. And then Tanjiro remembers a moment with his father when it was about time for him to do the Hino Kamikagura dance. And he says, well, Dad, I can take over for you. And his father's like, well, now that I'm older, I know it's much easier to do than when I was younger, because he learned what to take out, what to put in. The longer you do something, when I first did it, it was hard for me to breathe. It was, I was aching everywhere, but you learn to take out what is unnecessary. And at this time, a bear had killed several families. So they had put up bells and lit bonfires. And his dad wakes up in the dead of night, says, hey, Tanjiro, get up, come with me. And they're in this snowstorm, and this massive bear, big ass bear, easily 7 feet tall, looking down at his dad, and his dad has this axe. And he says to the bear, hey, you look, I know you gotta eat, I know you gotta live too, but you try to step to my family, I'm gonna end you. So just turn around. He gets in this stance. The bear comes for him, and he cuts this thing head off with an axe. And Tanjiro goes, I couldn't tell at the time, but I believe he made 2 strikes. One up, one down. That's how fast he was. And so this is where Tanjiro learns of the transparent world, or the state of selflessness, where you mask your killing intent, you mask your fighting spirit, so you can... Because what his dad compared to, his father compared it to how people close their eyes to hear better. You remove what is not needed so that you can further succeed. And so Tanjiro does just that. Akaza does this multi-directional move that's like 100 blows, and Giyu was able to block and save his vitals, but he gets hit. Akaza even backhand his blade and broke his blade, but Tanjiro have an out-of-body experience. His eyes are glowing red, his hair has changed, because that's what Giyu noticed it, and Tanjiro was able to save Giyu by cutting off dude's hand before it made him into a donut. And while he's dodging this attack and Tanjiro's looking, he's just moving left and right, dude doesn't notice him, and then Tanjiro does what Tanjiro does best and literally announces, hey, I'm about to behead you now. He could have just did it quietly. Fights with the guy. He does end up cutting his head off. But Akaza, through sheer force of will, grabs his head like, nope, not gonna die like that. He's trying to reattach it. Giyu with the save, throws the blade, the broken blade through his head. Tanjiro passes out because he's like, all right, cool. Then this is like redemption for him. He got to save a Hashira from this guy after losing a Hashira to this guy. And also, he said his breath was different. The flames did look a little bit different when he breathed. It's not the same Hino Kamikagura flames. So he got another Super Saiyan for him, right? But the body moves without a head through sheer force of will. And Giyu has to defend Tanjiro because Akaza still wants to kill him, obviously, because he reminds him of his past. And Giyu's deflecting, and Akaza's like talking to us, the viewers, without actually talking to us. And Tanjiro gets up. He's like, oh, I passed out in the middle of battle. His body's still moving, and the head is forming back. It is slowly forming back through sheer force of will and wanting to kill them. And Tanjiro comes in, and his hand loses the blade. So he goes, I'll just save Giyu. And this time, someone grabs Akaza, and it's this girl. And it turns out we find out the name of this young lady is it Koyuki? Wait a minute. It is... No, that's not the person's name. Yeah, it is Koyuki. Good job, me. Grabs him and calls him Hakuji. Akaza, centuries and centuries and centuries and centuries ago, was Hakuji. Young man whose father was deathly sick. He was getting thinner and thinner, so his father was probably had some really, really bad degenerative disease or something. Took care of his dad, but in order to afford the medicine, he had to go out and steal. And he would steal from everybody. He would steal, but he would steal from magistrates, and they got him. They beat him 100 times, and he's like, "I'll take 100 more." They put those lines that started off on his arms are tattoos to say that you got caught stealing. You get caught stealing again, they're going to cut off his hands. He's from Edo. And he was doing it for his dad, and someone told him, "Hey, your dad found out you got caught for stealing and killed himself. He hung himself." And so he gets a letter from his dad, and his father said, "Hey, Hakuji, live a good life. Live an honest life. All right? All right." Goes off, fights a bunch of adults, stopped really caring about the world, meets his next adopted father, this dude who I guess it's karate. We don't really get the name of what he does, but it's Soryu Dojo. And dude goes, "I came in here because it looked like I heard a kid was getting beat up by adults, but you took out 5 adults by yourself. Kid, what's your name?" Refused to tell him his name. He's like, "Cool. So this is what's going to happen. I'm going to make you reborn." Knocks him clear the hell out. Like, does the aura punches. Insane. Knocks him out and brings him back. His daughter Koyuki is also sick, like his dad was. He said, "You're going to take care of her." Fortunately, his wife, she drowned herself because she didn't want to see her daughter pass. So he trains with this guy, takes care of Koyuki. Time passes. He's 18. She's 17. She wants to marry him. Dude wants him to be his son-in-law. That's going to happen. The reason why, I guess his father-in-law's name was Koimu, because they both had the same kanji for their first names. He got the dojo, despite not being a samurai, because he saved a dude from bandits. And the local dojo didn't like that. And they couldn't beat him up. So they poisoned the well and simultaneously killed both him and Hakuji's new wife that he's been taking care of for the last 3 years. And they also finally got to see the fireworks. 2 years. Got to see the fireworks. So sad. This is what made me cry. This here, his backstory made me cry. Because you actually lived a tragic life. He went out after finding out that they got killed. Went to that dojo, killed 67 people. He was called a demon child when he was younger. And the magistrate said, "Hey, the last survivor of this killed all of them. He can't be human. He has to be a demon," because he ripped out eyes, teeth. They have organs missing. Muzan came and said, "I didn't dispatch a demon here. And here I find it's just a human that did all this." He went to attack Muzan super fast. Muzan's whole arm went through dude's head. He's like, "I'm thinking about making, 12 demons to, be my generals. You want to join?" He's like, "I don't care." I don't know how he says this with the hand through his head with no brain, but okay. And that's where he becomes this. And because it's already been close to 60 minutes, I'm going to speed this up a little bit. But the spirits of Koyuki and his dad, his first dad and his second dad and master, they convince him, "Hey, just rest." Koyuki ultimately convinces him to rest. And the blood of Muzan's like a vampire. Blood of Muzan was trying to get him like, "Hey, don't give up this. You said you're going to stay here. You want to be the strongest, right? Stay alive." And Koyuki, his father say, "Welcome home." And he's like, "I'm home." And his wife, she goes to hell with him because the last thing we see is him in flames. But before that, he smiles at Tanjiro and does his own attack at himself. And Tanjiro's like, "I smell a smell of gratitude on him." Crazy. But there you go. That's that. He ended through sheer force of will, stopped his own regeneration. And Koyuki's love from the afterlife broke him free of Muzan's control. The Upper Demon 1 and 2, they both sense his death. Upper Demon 1's pissed off, like, "I thought you wanted to be the best." Cuts down the pillars and where he's at. Doma senses it, but he's still fighting Kanao. The crows tell them that Giyu and Tanjiro win. They both faint, though. Tanjiro falls flat first and Giyu falls, just to one knee. So please don't die. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the next movie. Because if this is all going to happen in one night, how are they going to get healed? And what am I missing? I'm not missing anything. Oh, yeah. And the fourth demon, she rearranges the cube, but they're still going to map it all out. This movie's a 5 out of 5. Just in case my battery runs out, my camera runs out. 5 out of 5 movie. Watch it sub or dub. Period. This movie is fantastic. I'm sorry it took me literally an hour to get this all out, but this movie's great. And I had to talk about it. And when it comes to Demon Slayer, has easily become one of my favorite anime, because the creator of it based a lot of it off of my favorite manga series, Rurouni Kenshin. We don't talk about the controversies with that, but this feels like a successor to that. Mixed with a little bit of Bleach before Bleach came back, and Bleach is like a freaking renaissance at this point. But 5 out of 5. I love this movie. I watched it sub because I know all the sub voices, all the Japanese voices. Watch it dub if you can't watch it sub. Just watch this movie. Amazing. And the peak thing I love that they did it again. While the credits were rolling and that song was on, they kept all the action going. Tokido and Gyomei both congratulate, Tanjiro and Giyu for winning while they're running, trying to catch up. Love the fact that the lower ranks took on a giant lower rank demon just so the Hashiras are freed up to go take care of those upper moons. So as of right now, hold on, put on my coach hat. My coach hat here. All right, it's 2-1, buddies. We took out 2 of them. They took out 1 of ours. We got 3 dudes that are down, but we ain't out. I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of this stuff in 2027. If you've seen this movie and if you've made it this far, what was your favorite scene? R.I.P. to Shinobu. Did you enjoy the movie? I know I did. Guys, please, if you've lasted this long, hit that like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell, be notified of more reviews like this. And because I know this is going to take a long time for this to upload, help a brother out. Go to that Patreon in the description below. Whatever you choose to donate is greatly appreciated. I will soon be putting exclusive Patreon content on there. That's right. Some animes are going to be reviewed on there. Although I don't want to, I hate putting things behind a paywall. I'm going to figure that out. We're going to figure that out. But please have a safe weekend. Be good, be blessed. Drink some water. Wash those hands. Be good to yourselves, be good to others. Either way it goes, don't be a jerk. All right? Damn, this is so good. I might have to do a rewatch of the other seasons. It might have to be done. By the way, the show's about trauma. And life can be very hard. Very, very hard. And we get second chances. Don't be down on yourself. If you're feeling down and out, reach out to somebody. Somebody out there would rather talk to you today than to miss you and mourn you tomorrow. I promise you that. So reach out to them. Please. If you want to talk to me, my social media is in the description below. Give me a follow. Say hello. Just be mellow and we'll be good to go. All right, Slayers. Man, Hashira Secret number 5. Y'all definitely gonna see me next time. Peace out.